Hi, my name is John. I am with Computer Pro in Austin, Texas, and I've decided to start a video blog about my experiences with different hardware vendors and customer service reps around the country and around the world to let people know if they should use different products or not, whether it's Time Warner to Cisco to whatever, just my experiences with different companies. Today I want to talk to you about a company called Hawking Technology. Hawking specializes in wireless devices for long-range transmission of your internet signal. And my first experience, probably more than likely, is going to be my last, and I strongly would dissuade people from using them, and I am going to tell you why. I was involved in a project with a property owners association here in Austin, Texas, that wanted to get their signal, their wireless signal, to go approximately 50 yards from one building to another. These buildings were made out of stone and metal, so they were fairly well insulated with thick walls. But we decided we'd try and help them with it, and started out by going to Fry's Electronics here in town. We have one of their superstores. They suggested that I buy a product called a Hawking. This is right here is a let's see, the model number, I had it, is HOWABN1. This is an HOWABN1, and this is a wireless access point. It's outdoors. You put it on the outside of the building, and it's supposed to shoot a signal. Now, I was told by the people at Fry's that this particular product would go 1.5 miles by itself. And I opened it up, I looked at the documentation, nowhere on there did it tell me where it went. So we put this thing up, it went less than 100 feet. And I called Hawking's technical support department, which of course is based in India, and tried to talk to them. I got about 2 or 3 different answers, anywhere from 150 to about 300 or 400 feet, which if it had gone 300 or 400 feet, it would have worked just fine to get to this other building, and it didn't. Plus the fact that it was in India, and the people there didn't speak English very well. Now, I have no problem talking to people who, if I have to ask them a couple questions more than once, if we're having trouble communicating. But the problem I had wasn't the communication part. It was over the course of a month talking to them that every time I'd call, I'd get a different answer. I had to end up going and buying a separate antenna for this device. And I bought one of these, which is a 9 decibel high gain antenna. It's a Hawking, what's the model number on this? Well, it's an HAO9SIP, which it said would work. Or actually, the 14 decibels said it would work. Again, called Hawking, get one answer how the antenna might work, it might not. I had to do a firmware upgrade. Or that it didn't work at all. Finally talked to somebody who said that none of the antennas would work with this, where you could plug it directly in to the access point, even though it supposedly could. Spent weeks on this project because of the bad information I got from Hawking. Then finally, just giving up altogether, I called Hawking's corporate headquarters in, I believe it's in Irvine, California. That's all you get when you call them is voicemail. You don't never talk to anyone, even if you want to talk to someone in sales. So I left a message and never got a call back. I finally went out, took this, even though they said not to. I went back to Fry's and talked to a nice guy at Fry's. He said, you can take this, which was already up. I couldn't take it down anymore. And this is, by the way, is a $250 piece of equipment. And he said, take the antenna, this, and you can plug it in directly. There's a directional antenna and an Omni antenna on here, and I took off the Omni and replaced it with this, And even though they said it wouldn't work, lo and behold, it boosted the signal and it worked. Of course, I still had problems with the IP address, which I eventually resolved. But the problem with that, of course, was talking to them on the phone. I spent about half an hour on the phone with a guy who apparently was worse at English than any other person I talked to previously. And he was absolutely no help. But he did give me a clue as to what was wrong, and I finally was able to renegotiate the IP address and get it fixed. I guess the bottom line is this. In a world where we're outsourced, for the most part, there are a couple companies like Time Warner, which even without outsourcing has probably the worst customer service, not only in its industry, but in any industry. But in a world where we're outsourced, you talk to people in India or the Philippines or wherever a lot of the time, this is horrible. I mean, this was absolutely a horrible experience. I mean, you can't talk to somebody who speaks English well. You can't talk to somebody at their corporate headquarters. They don't give you the proper information when you can understand what they're saying. And nobody wants to return your phone calls. There's nothing in the documentation that tells you what is going on with these things or what kind of range they actually have. Because if it said it on the outside of the box, it would have been a no-brainer. It doesn't say it anywhere. There's a quick start guide, and the only documentation that came with this particular thing was a quick start guide, which basically told you about how to plug it in, and a CD, a DVD to set it up, to run the setup. To program the device, which actually was, for all intents and purposes, very easy to use. And I will be honest, the product actually works well once you can figure out the specs on it and once you can actually get it working. But the problem is, I spent hours and hours of my time, which is valuable. I bill myself out at $70, $80 an hour to a company like this, and because they had incompetent people working for them that couldn't help me. I could have, what took me probably a good 10 to 12 hours because of the way Hawking's customer service is set up, could have easily been done in probably 2 to 3. And that's why I would strongly suggest to a lot of you folks out there who are considering using Hawking's outdoor appliances or really any Hawking device and hope for getting customer service, not to use it. I mean, Cisco may not be any better. I haven't used Cisco in a while, but I would strongly dissuade you from using Hawking's. This is John with Computer Pro in Austin, Texas. If you'd like to contact us, we are at www.computerproaustin.com. We'd love to hear from you with your comments, or if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them. Have a great day. Bye.